I'm gonna see in a minute. Remember, they can see me. The issue was to hearing me. So so let's cross our fingers. Let me know. Can y'all hear me on the stream? Oh, static real bad. It's static. Let me know on stream if y'all can hear me. Let me know if y'all on YouTube live. Oh, okay. I know that. Okay. How does phone work? A lot of it's horrible static. Is it me? Is it me? You hear me clearly? Okay. All right. Okay, you ready? Yep. All right, y'all. Here, okay. Let's get locked and loaded, y'all. Heads up, eyes open, and fist clench. Right on. Heads up, eyes open, and fist clench. Y'all know what this is and how we do this. Let's get locked and loaded. Let's make history, take history, and tape history. Right on. Welcome to another episode of Free Em All Radio here, Intellectual Radio, hosted by yours truly, Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. and Robin Allen, a.k.a. The Lady of Rage. Let's make history. Let's take history. Right on. And let's tape history, y'all. Okay, well, we can pull that third one off the end. My taping history, I just got, okay, they can hear me on stream, y'all. Y'all know we had a lot of issues, though. Okay, we all good. So ain't no excuses, y'all. Y'all tune in. Whether Intellectual Radio, Instagram, official Chairman Fred Hampton, on my brother, yes indeed, man. Okay, my brother Noble, yes indeed, love and respect. We live and direct. My brother Reggie Tate, right on, love and respect, right on, yes indeed. Good to see y'all. Okay, man, they can hear us over here at on the stream yard. Woo, ain't no wood. Knock on something. Let's do this here, y'all. Okay, we got a lot to go into. March 30th, 2022. March 30th, 2022. I can recall this sister's name. We had interviews to coincide. Y'all forgive me. Don't charge it to the heart. We're trying to get people who are requesting me to come on their podcast. We're trying to see if we can coincide and do them right here on Fremont Radio. And I committed to this. Y'all, this whole Instagram thing is new to me. People be saying, Chairman, you didn't get back to me. I'm trying to learn. I be hearing people talk about the DMs and all that. I'm trying to grasp this here. We're trying to up the ante. So I forgive me. I know we're supposed to connected our programs. I can recall a sister's program. I could not find your message. Let's follow up with it. If we can make it for next week, we definitely want to make that happen. That's what it is. I'm self-critical with this technology. We got to up the ante. Show body in the building. That's what it is. Okay, let me let us give out these call-in numbers, y'all. 929-477-3785. You also can hit it 708-223-8953. I'm gonna be hitting this coffee every once in a while. Y'all forgive me. You know I don't like giving out no commercials for no company like this. I'm gonna get back on point with my cup. But just I'm gonna be dipping in that coffee every once in a while though, man. But again, it's good to be here. Whew. Good to see the people tuning in. So if y'all can't take a pause for the calls, let them know. Pull over. No, matter of fact, they can keep riding. Keep riding. Turn the phone. They can listen to it directly over the phone. 929-477-3785 and press 1. They can hear it directly over the phone. They can also go to YouTube. Chairman Fred, is it Chairman Fred or Chairman Fred Hampton? Chairman Fred Jr. Go to Chairman Fred Jr. and hit the subscribe button. You know what I'm saying? Put it out there. So, man, moving and grooving. I haven't watched this. I want the flyer did not permit us to get everything on the flyer today. A case in St. Louis, 12-year-old. I think the youth was 12 years old. The girl, 12 years old. They say, and it was Instagram Live in regards. her 14-year-old cousin, who she referenced, who they had such a bond, like a brother to her. And to my understanding, she had the gun on Facebook Live or something, and shot him, and then actually turned, you know what I'm saying, and mistakenly, I don't want to draw no foregone conclusions. Mistakenly, they got to put that, because I tell me, when it speaks to regards to our people automatically, what, you know, she lock her. Some people already lock them up, mistakenly, and then even shot herself. This is in St. Louis, and, you know, and I thirst for the day in which we can have discussions in regards to, you know, murders in our community, the issues, drug issues, with in an objective way, and as opposed to the reactionary analysis. You know what I'm saying? Some sort of, you know, Jerry Springer responses where people, you know what I'm saying, look at the dynamics. You know what I'm saying? Just for example, there's some litigation going on right now in California where white parents are literally suing social media. They're literally suing social media. They're suing TikTok and other entities in regards to making a connection to everything from, you know what I'm saying, their sons walking up in the schools, shooting the schools up, to their daughters anorexia, and not you know, having a reaction response with, you know, children should just do it, should be on their own to do this here, acknowledging what they say in court a lot of times, extenuating circumstances, taking into account conditions. And, you know, the deal is, the politics of it. You know what I'm saying? And you hear terms like peer pressure, and people dismiss it real lightly. Well, can't nobody tell you what to do. It's a different dynamic when you have, you know what I'm saying, the reinforcement of the ruling class. Again, a reinforcement of the ruling class. There's something, you know, you come to school and you see all your friends or you know, peers, you know, dressed a certain way. But then you know what I'm saying, to add to that, you know what I'm saying, to see TV shows, commercials, you know, like, you know, these radio shows that come on, you, all right, y'all stop the violence. And then, you know, and then the type of propaganda bombs, not music, the propaganda bombs that are dropped on them. And the impact, you know what I'm saying, we talk about, there was a case some years back when a young child out the Philippines, and it was a big thing all on, that was before social media, you know, was even, not even common, but it was even happening within our communities. But they had showed this young child, matter of fact, he wasn't even walking, and he was smoking cigarettes. And they were like, wow, this is a child phenomenon, you know, he's smoking cigarettes. And when people went to Philippines, they went later on, they said, man, y'all holding up dude like him, his family like they're somebody special. That's not no unique thing to us. They said, what you mean? They showed so many babies smoking cigarettes. And you didn't, you know, it wasn't a response like, well, these are some bad babies, you know what I'm saying? Well, you know what I'm saying? Or even bad parents. Or even, you know, well, they must be, you know, what these babies must be Virgos or Scorpios. They looked at the outside and said, wait a minute, look at the tobacco ads that saturate the community. Go look at the contrast with the ruling class, you know what I'm saying, the community that are not disenfranchised, you don't see them. And the bombardment of the tobacco ads, the images, wait a minute, go look at the accessibility to the tobacco. You know, I remember I was about 12 years old, and this merchant in the store where I grew up at, I recall him saying to me something like, to the effect that they're going to get he's thinking about opening up a liquor store. And I was like, yeah, you know, and I was wondering why, you know, why would there be a discussion with me? You know, he said, yeah, you know, because he had seen, like, even as a child, my stance, you know, like, you know, I didn't horseplay with them like they would, you know, like they would, you know, curse, you know, like go down there, curse the children, you know, other children out, you know, certain, you know, different language and play games. I didn't horseplay with them. And this was like a break, like something he can hold over my head when he said, yeah, I can just, you know, in other places, you have to have a certain zoning area. So I remember them words like zoning. I'm like, what? That you can't place, you know, like liquor stores too close in the vicinity in the same area. He said, but in your community, in your area, your people, we can do it. And it was like really like the way he said it. I remember And I remember how I felt, when it was like it was degrading, and the type of slop that's served to us. I mean, in every aspect. And we have to really struggle to put this in context. And I thirst for the day we can have some objective analysis. I know these emotional subjects. So we say, well, man, we want these quick fix. A lot of times we're not even looking for solutions. We just want to be able to think that we have a summation on it, And the deal is, ain't no media soundbite, no 2 minute media soundbites gonna suffice. That's people say, oh, here come Chairman Fred. He always want to, blame the system, and we do. And I people say, well, even people ask me questions. What do what's your thoughts on this? And a lot of times people say, we tell me there are no Cub notes in club class. There are no Cub notes in Cub class. The Black Panther Party, they had 6 weeks of political education, you dig, and the mandatory becoming in the party. We have that also. And a lot of people be critical, like, well, man, you didn't say this the right way, so on and so. People are very capable of grasping what's need to be grasped. You know what I'm saying? And the deal is there's a fight to not even a fight, but even it's easier not to acknowledge the political dynamics and to blame the messenger. The attack the vanguard. Saying, well, that's why it's the party. We use terms like I remember on the movie set, Judas and Black Messiah. It was Daniel Kaluuya had kind of say, we hear you all the time saying that word, Chairman, heighten the contradictions. And we say yes, that's important to understand, heighten the contradictions, because see, people would love for the vanguard to be just even bringing out summations that many people have been misinformed by the ruling class through their religious leaders, their politicians, their parents. So it's like so a lot of people try to make it like, oh, you attacking what my mama said or my daddy said. And politics is like a scalpel. You're trying to cut this cancer of capitalism. But people see it, I'm going to hold on. They will defend it. They will defend it. And it's a difficult job for the vanguard because there ain't no payday, ain't no big payday for this, And Minister U.E.P. New said the most difficult job is fighting in the interests of the people, is fighting in the interests of people who don't know their own interests. I'm going to run that down one more time. Most difficult job of fighting in the interests of a people, the people is, in many cases, the people don't know their own interests. So, in other words, you're fighting not for, for the people, and they're saying, no, we want to go with this, and all the time, this is the dagger. This is the the dictators that this system is utilizing to wipe us out. So many cases, so many points that we make, in the spirit of being servants of the people and servants of history, people won't really grasp on until later on in life. So that being said, this dynamic of this child in St. Louis shooting her cousin is. There are so many different dynamics. I mean, the whole the trigger of social media. I mean, why would they even go on Facebook Live? You know what I'm saying? I just watched a piece called Profile. It showed you how, it was a piece about, the people in ISIS and other organizations, and they were saying they were clicking on to how they triggered these young women. Teenage women. And they have profile. They didn't say these young ladies. They said these young girls. They was from the suburbs and they were white children, and it was you still empathize with them. It wasn't they should know better. Their mama should have taught them better. You can't sell to other communities. You know what I'm saying? This without even how they flatter. See, before you get attacked, in many cases they flatter you. They'll say something like it's all in the home, and even parents start to feel themselves like yeah. And the reality is, don't flatter yourself. I mean, man, let the record reflect. I mean, great parents. You can lay down this and that in the house. So I remember this contradiction with this individual. It's criminal. It's criminal. And she would, in her household, she would, yes indeed, cuz, right on. Yes indeed. So you're right. Yes indeed. Well, this is I love this, man. This type of discussion, man. With family tapping in, I'm having flashbacks. You know what I'm saying? Man, my great aunts, my auntie, grandmamas, man, grandfather, everybody. And we was inside this sister's house. In her home, she had the candles lit, information about it was a information about Africa culture, but in a detached way. Like, it's stuff about in my household growing up about Africa, but it was in a more realistic way. It was one of Chairman Fred's speeches. He said, "Y'all know they in Africa wearing 357 and bandoliers also." So it wasn't this romanticism. A lot of people know about the Black Panther Party romanticized sort of way. And so back to this case of this criminal. So she left her house. So and now she left there to go teach at a school. I accompanied her to the school. This is supposed to be one of the worst schools in Oakland, California. Now, when we got to the school, you seen the setup. I watched the setup. You seen the Mexicano guard in the room. You seen how the trailer was set up, and you seen the disdain, the disconnect she had with the children, the people that, and they felt it, that she couldn't even relate to their conditions. You know what I'm saying? She was saying these abstract terms, and then as soon as I cut in, got to relating to these youngsters, I said, whoa, let's be very clear with this here. Similar to when I was in Africa, when I was talking to our people in Africa, I said, "Oh, there ain't no tourist. I'm your long lost brother. I've been gone for 500 years. I'm your brother. And connected right to our people." And they caught it. And they caught it, these children. They caught it. They related to it, And now the lessons in that, the politics in that, is to say, wait a minute. Now, if these children can peep that this so-called teacher heard disdain and disconnect from them, how come the ruling class, quote unquote, didn't? But the reality, the ruling class did. They do. Who they put as teachers, who they put as in leadership in these organizations, it's not no surprise. They have a psychological profile. And then it started to be passed down on and on. And every dynamic. When I was in prison, one of the teachers, he would let all the organizations make copies of photocopies of their paper. As soon as I submitted something, they shut the school down and say no more copies. People say, "Oh man, what's wrong?" I said, "Man, y'all think?" I said, "Y'all, I done enough to show y'all." It came out. This dude worked for the CIA. I said, "This is a prison. It's a state job. Draw the connections." They had one teacher to teach the class was psychology inside the prison, inside the camps. And cats would literally go over there and get on the couch and just open up like they talking to some sort of Dr. Phil, tell everything. It came to come to find out this guy he was connected directly to James Gloves Davis. He was the Negro police that came on assassinated Chairman Fred and the 5th of Mark Clark. Everything is political, even if the individual themselves do not know their political connection. This goes into entertainment. This goes into electoral politics. This goes into football, baseball, every dynamic. And people sit back and say, "Whoa, wait a minute. What triggered you? What colors triggered you? What do you relate to?" And it may be certain dynamics of your that you the individual operates in for that respective ecosystem to work. We live in the record on Freedom on Radio, y'all, making history, taking history, and taping history. 929-477-3785. We're talking about the children. Let me say that word again. The children in St. Louis. We're talking about the children in our community, the impacts of social media, the politics of it. Why is it that white parents in California are literally talking about litigation? And when people hear that, their first response, "What? They're finna get paid." At what cost? What are the impact? They just had some guy from Brooklyn, Vlad, had the case, the image of the young guy. He's fighting the case. He's locked up in Brooklyn in jail. They got him in the jail. Vlad got the video footage of him playing Grand Theft Auto in the jail. Yeah. For those parents who may not be, connecting what I'm talking about, go back and do an objective, all them video games. Some cats so disconnected. This ain't Atari. This ain't Pac-Man. This ain't Miss Pac-Man. You know what I'm saying? This ain't the old pinball machines. Grand Theft Auto, the dynamics of it, the details of it. You know what I'm saying? Man, and also put in context the timing, when quarantines, all that, the impact. They got, you know what I'm saying? So they got the guy in jail playing Grand Theft Auto. Go check it out, Grand Theft Auto. Just check it out. Ride through some of these traps, dope houses. When you got the youngsters with these Google glasses on, And the scenes of having sexual relationships is so explicit, so detailed. You got cats who ain't got no thought about even connecting with a woman ever. This and you say, oh, that's just how they do studies in Egypt. In Egypt, they have what they refer to as when uprisings happen, they attribute and say, wait a minute. They use terms like social engineering. The politics, people can relate to it and grasp it at certain times. You talk about astrology. There's certain facts. There's some certain scientific analysis to that. When you're born, you know what I'm saying? How much water level, where the moon is at. That's truth. But there's a fight in the black community to not acknowledge the politics because we're told directly, indirectly, don't you touch that. An adult woman told us she's scared to watch Judas and the Black Messiah. Now she can watch other movies. She can watch other movies. She can watch BMF, and this is no slight on it because we welcome it. But she can watch other movies. So you say, oh yeah, it's too much violence. Movies with other shooting scenes in it. Let's be honest. It's scary. It's scary to acknowledge that the most powerful entity in the world, the big kahuna of capitalism, the shot called over the world, U.S. imperialism, were out their mouths, we going to shut these niggas down. 14 to 24 years, we coming to gun them. And then when you run out of all options, you say, well, yeah, because blah, 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 yeah, because they didn't, they was doing this, they didn't, they was late on their rent, you know what I'm saying, or they didn't open the door in time. And to pull the covers off in raw. And man, more blatant than the Trump speech, more blatant than the Nixon edict to say this is what it is. And it's more easy to say, well, it was a situation with some guys, the men had an issue with the women. That's probably why they got knocked up for, some of them, they was on the west side, or so that area there. I heard a couple of them have Pontiac cars. The heighten the contradictions. Well, you can never say, no, this ain't no gang war. What's going down here? And then there comes times where, we say we last call for alcohol when the system, they push it to the point, man, this is what it is. There's big discussion also going on in regards to reparations. I want people to call in to their thoughts on that, a discussion that many other communities have had. The victims of the Nazi Germany, Dachau, Auschwitz, and not just in economic, people hear that say, oh, money. To devalue the situation just that of economic. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. Cats got to eat and cats need heat. That's reality. However, the political dynamics of acknowledging that there's damage done to you, again, why this is a hard question in regards to black people by touching on the question of reparations. Because it puts in context now. You got to go to change all the stuff that the people in Texas and wrote in the history books where this family made it because they worked hard, they invested their money, and just like the phone company got this part. Hold on, repair who? Go to the roots of this, the basis of this system, stole from the native man, built by the black man and the woman. You know what I'm saying? And put things in context. Then it opens the door for all type of class contradiction. When you have somebody say, well, I don't think such, they shouldn't get it because the whole thing of self-determination. So the decision post came out they're talking about in California now. What they're saying, those descendants of those of chattel slavery supposed to get the resource. Keep your see, it's an old saying the native people had. They say white man speak with forked tongue. This is an axiom that came as a result of broken treaties throughout the 1800s and treaty back to back. You dig? And to put this in context, when they use certain terms, but we want to have this discussion in regards to reparations and, in regards to, the impact of resources, in regards to why is this such a difficult question to address in the black community? Why are there so many loopholes? Why are there so many, why is there so much bureaucratic red tape? And it opens a discussion, you're talking like even with Nazi Germany, they had the Nuremberg hearings. Go look at the Nuremberg hearings. These are trials in which SS soldiers were brought up and said, well, what role did you play? And many SS soldiers took the defense, hey, I was following orders. You did? And to put it in political context, like in Nazi Germany, it's acknowledged that the SS and the SA and the entities under then Führer of Nazi Germany, Adolf Hitler, they had implemented the ghettos. They created the ghettos. It's acknowledged. Now I don't know how this scribbling got flipped when it come to us. Something that we created the ghettos. You dig what I'm saying? We can have let's put this in correct context. And many people have a reactionary assessment. So we're talking about reparations. We're talking about the children in St. Louis. Also, the anti-lynching bill to pass today. Until the face of it, signed by U.S. President Biden, sponsored by U.S. Congressman Bobby Rush. I can't remember the other senator's name right offhand. I'll get that in 1 second. What's your thoughts on that? Even the history of lynching, the history of it and how, and be careful, even with certain laws, how, it's a piece that I watched about affirmative action. How they say initially brought about the black people, but then they seen the discussion open to terms like minorities, so on and so forth. And in regards to laws, let me say this too. Let me quote Minister U.E.P. Newton. If this system was to honor the laws they have on the books now, you follow what I'm saying? The laws now. So it's like even the stand your ground law. So we see how Machiavellian this system operates. You know what I'm saying? When the sister in the state of Florida, you call her name, co-host? Was it? Okay, see me grab.
I think it must be begins with a C. I can't remember it.
Okay, the sister. So co-hosts and callers, if y'all can tap in too. When her defense was to stand your ground, now we can say, well, maybe she didn't have a good lawyer. So maybe she's a Virgo, or whatever the case may be. Maybe they say she couldn't use it as defense. Now George Zimmerman, on the other hand, it's different. You know what I'm saying? And this we got to come to grips with. Everything is political, and how the laws implemented. So we want to talk about that, in the history of lynching, and how many times has this been attempted to be passed? You know what I'm saying? Why is this issue about even just acknowledging the history of this, and not just not to be negated, just some poor white people just going sneaking lynching us, the Ku Klux Klan, the different entities and businesses. Hallmark, you can go back, Hallmark. Hallmark had cards where they would the pictures of what it was referred to as the picnic. Notice, go look at our flyers. You know what I'm saying? You can't find the word picnic. And I remember new forces would come on. They'll make a big difference. And I was just coming today. I said, "Woo." They say, Chairman, don't you be happy when a lot of new people start getting? I say, shit, it's bad. It's pros and cons, man. He said, what you mean, Chairman? I said, well, oh my God. It's nothing like that new energy that comes in with that. Don't let it have that class arrogance add to it. Like, this is the first time something has happened. You know what I'm saying? The police just start killing us that day, that case. You dig? And you won't, and it's a constant battle, man. And it can be draining on veterans, believe me. It's like you've been on the football field. You come, you got scars and cleat marks on you and everything. And somebody from not the little league, what they call the football teams, they had got the little junior leagues. They have Pee-wee leagues and something that's another term they use too I don't know if these for football, but something. Let's go with that if you will. Let's go with that. The Pee-wee leagues. And you out there, you come. We'll go with that. The Pop Warners. The Pop Warners. Pop Warners. Yeah. And some guy, and you out there, you come up, you bleeding, and some guy Pop Warner going. See, a touchdown. Sometimes in telling you the referees be cheating, you like, it's mind blowing. So it could be a drain. You dig? But we gotta keep on moving and grooving, keep on moving, y'all. Real talk. We live and direct on Freedom on Radio, instead of making history, taking history, and taping history. So we traveling, we moving around, we touching on different dynamics, some of the political impacts of social media. So let's go social engineering. This like even when they ask you, it is an adult. You know what I'm saying? I get offended when I'm like, I tell people I'm so tired. I type in Cub and and automatically the computers take over. Cub and community condolences. I like, hold on, man. I don't appreciate no computer. I don't like computer. How does computer gonna tell me what I'm about to say? You know what I'm saying? And then even they so-called ask you a question, would you like blah blah blah? Would you like to give us this? And you know what I'm saying, and you press no, so well, you ain't going no further. It's like the police ask you, you mind we search your car? You know what I'm saying? You really offended that you okay? You got the gun. It's 4 a.m. We out here. We gonna play this game. So this whole the dynamics of it, man, the politics of it. Let's struggle to put all this in this.
Alexander was the name of that family.
Marissa, was it Marissa or Melissa?
Marissa.
Marissa Alexander, yeah, who was subsequently released. But go back and look at the contradictions. And I'm sure some of us say, well, her lawyer didn't do this, or just get to the chase. Was really, how this operates. So we talking about different dynamics. Y'all feel free.
She didn't even kill nobody.
Exactly. Shot in the ceiling. Exactly.
Shot a warning shot. Yeah.
And a warning shot. And this is where you see other schools of thoughts fall short. Where you're like, well, this system cares about the women. We got to get the black women. We got the women, the men. As opposed to looking at when the Portuguese and the Spaniards and they put up on the coast of Africa and they kidnapping us, the attack on our people as a whole. We're talking about the cases, 12-year-old, the youth in St. Louis, the impact of social engineering. We're talking about the reparations. That's ongoing. And Clubhouse is having some our Brother Jay, they weren't able to come in today. They having some, I tapped into some real powerful, I just want to commend these for us. There's some real powerful discussions from different schools of thoughts. I mean, it's beautiful. I really got to tighten up about me getting on this Clubhouse again. It was some real good discussions in regards to this whole thing. The reparations is another issue. So I'm sure we have our people who work the Clubhouse for us on next week. We're talking about the reparations position, anti-lynching bill passed yesterday. I know a lot of y'all in the tuning in on. Excuse me, close.
No, I was just agreeing with
Okay, right on. I know a lot of people tuning in now. They like, okay, let's get to this other discussion. A lot of people tuning. Let's talk about this moment at the Oscars. I know a lot of people that tune in. What's the thought? What's the summation? What's your thoughts, input on the moment that stood out? The moment that stood out on the Oscars. Yeah, and wasn't it something? Wasn't it something that moment in the Oscars that everybody the moment that stood out to me? I know it stood out in my mind, the Oscars. I know I said, man. So y'all call it. Yeah, y'all.
I said long legs.
Man, real talk. Y'all call in and let me know your thoughts on that hell of a moment at the Oscars. Daniel Kaluuya and her on that stage, last year's nominee, who even go back and look at the background. See, this is important. A lot of times people have reactionary assessment. See, I'm cut from the cloth. Well, see, Minister UEP don't even talk about the impact of the white man, the great grandfather. You know what I'm saying? His attack on his grandmother. You know what I'm saying? And see, as Malcolm X talk about the movie, the name Red. You know what I'm saying? The rape and the intact. You know what I'm saying? The situation in his family, the contradictions as a child. Many people, and it's also like a class arrogance. They have a position. That's why like a lot of people go to these schools and they get these tattoos and they just, I'm gonna start right here from fresh, and like nothing else is impacted. Now the ruling class, many people can afford that luxury. Say, okay, you can go to a place, I'm gonna put you in a bubble. You don't have to come into contact with nothing. No, you know what I'm saying? But that goes so far. You see, when a lot of these children they go off to school, whoa, the outside world, dialectical materialism. The philosophical tool that we relate to. In addition to acknowledging that things are being born and growing, as well as dying and disintegrating, you are impacted by others' actions and vice versa. So, man, the same Daniel Kaluuya, the same one. There are many people, oh man, he shouldn't play this role. He's not from, you know what I'm saying, from the state. See, we on with a politics that transcends generational, gender, and geographical lines. Yeah. Did background research on this brother. You did? Studied the dynamics of, you know, and see, even, now mind you, this is 2-3 years after the release of Judas and the Black Messiah. That, man, it's people that was in the Black Panther Party scared to publicly acknowledge the Black Panther Party. On the stage last year, acknowledging the impact that Chairman Bobby Seale and Mr. E.P. Newton had on his life. See, the legacy of the Black Panther Party, man, throughout the world, it instills something, self-determination. That's why the government still shoot up Chairman Fred's tombstone. You dig? And even to this day, the cast of the movie, you could some cat, you know, saying was saying, man, how do you still relate to it? I'm talking about the impact still. Some guy said, man, Chairman, you go up there in Hollywood? I said, this here. You should be concerned with. I said, I know a lot of people can't relate to it. Like I said, when we said the Panther Party, they work with white people. I said, everybody can't do this. The Chairman Fred was clear who he was. He was armed with a politic to be able to go deal with the vice lords, Stones, disciples, the young patriot, the young lord, and still be recognized as the Vanguard Party. Where we be at Inglewood, Maywood, Hollywood, armed with a politic, winning the people certain points of unity. It was a joke they made about me when I was locked and I was held captive. They said, man, Chairman Fred go to the disciples meeting, Stones meeting, Vice Lord meetings, Hebrew service, Muslim service, and still come out Chairman Fred. We don't recommend everybody eat Chinese food. We do not recommend everybody eat Chinese food. They have no, if you, of who you are. Of who you are. Flip Wilson, comedian Flip Wilson has said, after he made his first $1 million, he knew he was not a nigga no more. However, he also said he didn't know what he was. Give me some niggas as opposed to some confused one day African American / colored Negro, don't know what they are. To acknowledge it, and also in a humble way, to be, don't flatter yourself. You are impacted. See, this system runs a lick on us. We're gonna talk about this. I know somebody want to talk some other stuff at us too. I need somebody else to call into question because I work better that way. You know what I'm saying? Don't flatter yourself. We are products of past situations, present situations, other people who you come into contact with. Minister E.P. Newton said, I will not be the same man when I wake up that I went to bed as. Ever developing. As an adult, me going to Africa is certain things, I'm impacted a certain way. I have I see my tolerance level for certain food, for certain people. I say, damn, woo, it's certain, whoa. It's certain, the impact of you. When you come into contact with, to see certain things like, see certain movies, to acknowledge certain relationships. Even people say like, man, some guys, they've been damaged. You can tell he had a bad relationship, but you can tell this happened to their child. And and believe me, the Black Panther Party Cubs, we do not ascribe to saying, okay, come out in public and say, okay, my name is John, I'm such and such. No, this ain't about, attacking the individual. But as Shakespeare said, to thine self be true. What this system does is they have a profile, they take and they put them in positions that they know they can control, they can check it, the tender spots, and so on and so forth. You got any callers in queue? Make sure y'all subscribe to Chairman Fred Jr. on YouTube. Callers, I need y'all to call on in. Give me y'all input, y'all thoughts. 929-477-3785. And then press 1. 929-477-3785. And then press 1.
Chairman, I wanted to recommend to the listeners to check out this. It's a short film on YouTube. It's called Malls. And I know a couple weeks ago we talked about Talmika the lady in Oakland, the lady in I think it was might have been Oakland, who had her scalp ripped off. Tamika Bates,
Oh yeah.
who had her scalp ripped off by a police dog. This short film called Mauled, when police dog attacks, it shows how it kind of goes through the history of dogs being used to track slaves and the beginnings of how the dogs were trained to go after black and brown people and attack and things like that. So it's short. It's about 10, 15 minutes long, but it talks about it shows her story. Well, not her story, but you can hear when she's being attacked, and it's so brutal. I mean, it's so in the disregard that the cops have, like, be still and stop moving, and you got fangs and teeth, canines sunk into your body, and you're told to not move, and no type of empathy or no type of control. They can't even get the dogs off. On one image, it showed the dog biting another person that didn't even have nothing to do with what was going on, and it just showed the outcome of what happens when these dogs attack, and it just goes through a little history of there was a Cuban bloodhound back, I think it was in the 1700s, that was trained, that the government allowed people to get these exports from Cuba in order to hunt runaway slaves and things like that, and then it transitioned to the bloodhound, and then it showed the canine unit being introduced and how they would train. They would get the dog to specifically not like black people, and they would have a black person, black man in particular, tease and agitate the dog, and then until the dog, just was in a frenzy, and then they would let the man run, the black man, and then the dog would chase him through the woods, and it's called treeing him, where the person running has no option, the slave running has no option but to climb a tree in order not to get bit, and that's when they know that the dog is ready, when they can sniff him out and then run him up a tree, and they had businesses like poor white people who didn't own slaves, but they bred the slave dogs to catch the slaves. So I just wanted to throw that out there. It's on YouTube and it's called Mauled.
Mauled, Mauled.
Yep.
Mauled on YouTube. Again, go ahead.
It also talks about a man who was chased down and he died. He was bitten in his groin area and bled to death from his wound. And his name was Joseph Petaway, and that was in Alabama. He was 57 years old, and he died from his attack. But just when you see it and you see just how it's like, well, you shouldn't have ran, or you shouldn't have got, you shouldn't have hid, or you shouldn't have done anything. But just when these teeth are in you and you are being told to stand, one scene, it was the man, he had a gun because the guy was getting up because he didn't want to get bit, and the cop put the gun up to his head and he laid down, and the dog is mauling his leg, like, and he's trying to stay still. One man was handcuffed and being eaten by the dog, like being just tore up by him. So it's kind of graphic, but that's the reality of it. Like you say, brutal terms of brutal reality, and all of that is straight up raw.
Right on. I just also Norman Richardson from Canada. Someone post up the call-in number if you can on StreamYard, Facebook, and Instagram. That's area code 773. Oh no, excuse me, scratch that. No area code there. 929-477-3785. 929-477-3785. Then press 1 to enter to get in. Our co-host just mentioned a movie on YouTube, Mauled, Mauled. This is part from a previous radio program, political education that we had. a big case in California that's presently happening in regards. Sister, what's her name again? Who was the dog pulled up, literally tore her hair.
Tamika Bates.
Tanika Bates.
Scalp.
Her scalp chewed her scalp off.
Tamika Bates.
These and these are not aberrations. Like you look at you look at the history. Like even with the bloodhounds, that's new to me in regards to the Cuban. The Cuban what? What was that? The Cuban what?
Cuban bloodhound.
Cuban bloodhounds. That's a different breed. I wasn't familiar with that breed, but the bloodhounds, in particular, what you're saying, utilized in regards to tracking us down. See, these are like even the initial purpose of the police was that to capture those runaway slaves, those runaway from plantation, and if you start recognizing, putting this in context, how important we are. I mean, the different dynamics of even the master lock. The master lock was sold and designed for the lock that the slave can't break. This is the master lock. The struggle really put this in context, and I'm trying to remember this case it was in Compton. I'm trying to remember this case we had. Oh, this brother was shot so many times. Oh man, his cousin. She fought. She stood. Man, she put so much work in regards to the case. Get the footage where they shot him in the helicopter right there. And the dog the dog went up on him, and they was shooting so much they shot the dog. The police shot the dog, and the ambulance helicopter lifted the dog, left the brother there. Deontay something. Oh, I remember the case. I remember the sister. She's come on. We used to have on the show. She come in. I remember describing her voice. I said I correlate her voice to like Scarface, face of Ghetto Boys. It was like a strong pain. It was like a strong pain, of strength. When you hear about these stories, even today, to be honest with you, just hearing about these dogs. I mean, going into your growing area. You know what I'm saying? Just hearing about it. The flinch. And imagine seeing these different dynamics. I just seen a sister posted up on her page a video clip, and I seen the clip. And it was the beginning of this movie. It might have been 12 Years a Slave, but I forget. And David Banner's playing the key. The initial is as soon as the movie opens up, and it showed you him on the plantation in a slave master walk literally up in front of his children, shooting the brother out there. You know what I'm saying? And I'm real careful with my words as opposed to the slave. I'm real big. Some of us were enslaved. You know what I'm saying? We African people were kidnapped. You know what I'm saying? And there's a difference. So what's the big difference? The difference between, nouns and verbs and adjectives, you dig? Some of us were enslaved. And then now those who are slaves, you dig? That's their whole entity, what they define as. But they had shot this brother, killed him, and his child was right there, the young child. And I can't remember this actor's name, but his face, he's a famous actor still to this day. But David Banner played the role where the brother was shot. And then the white lady, she was right there with the son. She said, y'all go bury him, bury this boy. And she told the boy, I'm going to take you in the house and let you become a good house nigga. And the deal is, we have to start acknowledging that. Like, just even hearing about the dogs going that you're growing. I'm sure, brothers, if we be honest, when we heard, just hearing that, that alone can be a deterrent for a lot of people. Whoa, man, whoa, fuck that shit. The impact, the brain, the conscious, the subconscious. Did that child remember that? We're going to talk about different actions that people take on. Call in 929-477-3785. We're going to talk about the Oscars, y'all. Don't y'all forget, man. Hashtag Oscars 2022. Daniel Kaluuya, her. Hashtag long live Chairman Fred Hampton. Why many of y'all didn't know about that? A lot of people say, well, I didn't see Freedom Officer to come right.
We have callers in queue. Fremont, we have Sister Cece on the line.
Fremont, welcome to Fremont Radio.
Hi. Fremont.
Yes, sir. Chairman Fred, I just want to say it's an honor to be on here with you, Ms. Allen. I just wanted to touch on the Oscars and if we touch on the 12-year-old in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just to start with the St. Louis situation, I'm just still in disgust about the whole situation because, you know, the government is dropping these weapons in our neighborhood.
Yes.
You know, the kids shouldn't even have access to that type of weapon anyways. And if you go onto the Instagram page of the young man, the boy, he had all types of weapons that's military grade weapons. Nowhere else that he could have got those weapons than something that the government dropped off somewhere in the neighborhood, you know. And I mean, it's crazy that they're putting these type of weapons into our neighborhoods and in the hands of our kids who don't know what to do with them, you know. And then from a full spectrum, just looking at it from the bigger picture, they're trying to tell us that they want to put all of these rules on us actually carrying guns and having weapons to protect ourselves, but dropping them off in the neighborhood for our kids to kill themselves.
Yes.
Wow.
Good point. Acknowledging the
I just wanted to know, kind of just talk about how you felt about that.
I relate. You pointed out a blatant contradiction. Those who I don't know if everyone heard, our caller sister just pointed out, like, you know, on one hand, you got these intense laws about disarming us in our community. You know, so you can't be armed, so on and so. I mean, everything down from the if you're a felon, so on and so forth. Then on the other hand, or better yet, the same hand, the accessibility of the type of weapons that are literally placed into our babies, into children's. You know what I'm saying? And, you know what I'm saying? And the deal is the dynamic of, you look at other communities. Like, in fact, that it's a movie, white cat in Detroit, who sold drugs, White Boy Rick. White Boy Rick is White Boy Rick. This is a guy who, matter of fact, if those who watching BMF, there's a small mention of him. White Boy Rick was just recently released out of prison. Now, in a movie, now, I know, believe me, I know all these movies are not all fiction. There are a lot of fiction, have a lot of fiction in them. However, it talked about from whence he came. How his father was a gun runner. His father, was able to, he was able to come back in Detroit, to come get the guns, but why wasn't the father wasn't going on no long trips? How was his father able to get the weapons he had? You know what I'm saying? And then bring them back to the black community and sell them. And, you know, the accessibility. And that impacts what you see as legal and illegal, your accessibility to it, how you view it, how you deal with it. How the white people, white children, white people even view the gun. It's like, you know, man, second nature passed down is common. You know what I'm saying? Everything is connected to your survival, whether by eating, hunting, or to defending yourself. What context is put in, as opposed to the black community, the whole dynamic of, you know, this, like, you know, like this is some, you know, if you do touch it, moving secretly, see, you know what I'm saying, what is, even if you legal, how you view with it. We've seen the case of Philando Castile, who had his gun permit, gun card. In fact, his sister said, she said, we both got our gun license the same day. And she said, his sister said, I was like, man, I'm still no. I'm really right. I'm contraband being black. So that's, right on. Excellent points laid out, that the contradictions in regard, in fact, there was some internal struggle within the Black Panther Party in regards to the gun. Minister E.P. Newton said that we must even politicize the gun. We must even politicize the gun. What makes our gun different from the pig's gun? You know what I'm saying? Like one of the initial cases with the newsletter, the first newsletter grew to be the Black Panther Party intercommunal newspaper. Initially was a newsletter, was birthed out in response to Richmond, California. Denzel Dow. I know I'll be mad at myself. I'm mad at myself. Denzel, yeah, who was shot. I think it's Dow. Was shot by the police in Richmond, and even the movie Panther had kind of depicted the situation where the party came out there and they talked to the people and they politicized them. And when they came back, the people were armed. And you know what I'm saying? See, the politics of the gun. It's not just the gun. You know what I'm saying? And you can literally Denzel, yes indeed, right on. Yep, right on. Y'all know I'm beat myself up all night for this one. The politics of the gun. It's like the party had a weight, you know, like even though like back to the movie Judas and Black Messiah, we even struggled with certain things, like even how you move. Like we said, no, the sister can't. Initially, the sister Dominique Thorne, who portrayed oh, I can't believe it, I'm slipping. This what's, no, that's Dominique Thorne. Judy sister in the scene, the headquarters. With a shotgun at the headquarters. Something got locked up. She's on point.
Yeah.
Dominique Thorne, but the character she played, she which was a fictional character, however, it encompassed a lot of attributes of the Black Panther Party, and we were struggling. Like initially, it couldn't be with the people walking in front of the headquarters. And she, you know what I'm saying? And she's up. You know what I'm saying? The party was they are service of the people. So taking into account the people out there, and also the initial name for the Black Panther Party was the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. Not Harden. Was it Judy Harden? It's close to it though, comrade. Harmon.
Yeah.
Judy Harmon. That how the gun is carried. I mean, one time we struggled on the movie set about something, and then lo and behold, I looked on the sales of Panther Party newspaper. You had the rules of discipline, how we dealt how you dealt the gun, and you can literally trace every law that the status came to regards to the gun. It has been in response to some dynamic going on with the Black community. The Emancipation Proclamation. You can go back and tie even the implementing certain gun laws. It came down, you know what I'm saying? You can tell me like literally. You can go, you know what I'm saying? They came down, but you know what I'm saying about the right to bear arms. You know what I'm saying? How that second amendment to the U.S. Constitution was being challenged. You know what I'm saying? You can go back. You can fast forward up into what is known as the Panther Bill under Senator Mulford in California. In response to the Black community being armed, and which also calls for the executive mandate number 1 by Minister U.E.P. Newton that called upon the Black community to be armed, you know what I'm saying, and putting the gun in this correct political context. So, how like in Chicago, Chicago has some of the tough, if not the toughest gun laws within the country. People are like, whoa, that doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right. It doesn't add up. All the murders and stuff. The gun law, the different dynamics is set up. It's, you know what I'm saying, who gets the guns, how they get them. You know what I'm saying? And not only, it's not just the dynamic of being trained to use it, the politics of it. You know what I'm saying? See, the system, it's one thing that people have guns, in your mindset, you're to the point of say, okay, this is just for rabbits, this is just for, you know what I'm saying, to eat. You know what I'm saying? It's a different dynamic. You say, okay, you get this AK-47, you get this here, you get this type of military weapon, and it automatically, you know what I'm saying, your mindset, your politics is, well, I'm gonna blast, you gonna blast some niggas. When you the height in the countries are heightened to the point that you relate to the sentiments of Chairman Fred, say, you dig, I got my gun, you got your gun, motherfucking, if you intend to cross the line, you intend to harm me or to attempt to take my gun from me, shit, it will blow your motherfucking brains out. That's a different dynamic. I'm not saying that you get up we're the white man. No, you said we drawing the line somewhere, motherfuckers. To defend myself, my life. And then add to that, not just your life as an individual, you talking about the community, the people. Oh my God, this arm these motherfuckers. This is a problem. So right on, sis, right on. So I ain't no code. So if you want to tap in also, it's on you.
You know, when you talk about the guns and you know, you will often tell me about how they would be in the trains, open cars where it will stop, where people can just run in and get these loaded automatic weapons, like military style, and the crime, the shootings that were taking place. It made me think back to and I think I said this before. I think it was the King of New York, how these cops, they portrayed themselves as somebody else. They had on the ski mask and everything, and they went up shooting up whoever they were after, the rival, the drug dealer, whoever, Christopher Walken's character and Larry Fishburne. But the shootings that take place in Chicago, where it said that these people not doing this, like the cops could be getting down, like committing these crimes and doing all this killing for an agenda, for something to take place as a result of all of this. So I just wanted to add that in there as well.
Right on. Right on. So, are you still there? You still there with us, sister? Carla still with us?
Yes,
right,
yes, I'm still
right
here.
on. You had a second. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. And I just wanted to also add to what you're saying about, I know we were just using examples. In the series Snowfall, John Singleton was also trying to bring that to our attention as well. How he, you could tell the dynamic of the show changed once he died, because it's like he was trying to let us know how they're just, it's a whole propaganda there. Him having the dad in the show and the dad being a Black Panther. And, the dad trying to just show his son how the government was just only using him, for the whole drugs, to bring the drugs into the neighborhood, to put our people on drugs, bring them the weapon, and having them kill each other, and, just so much they were trying to show us in that show. And once it turned to a space where they started realizing, when the mom talked to his friends and were trying to get them more influence on the Black Panther Party and how we need to start, trying to train our people instead of putting the drugs in our neighborhoods. We need to help our people, protect our people, get our people, and equip our people. Basically, educate them on what's going on and educate them on how this is destroying us. And for us to all organize, plot, plan, and strategize on what it is that we need to do in order to beat this system that we're in. I just felt it was just crazy how it changed once John Singleton died. Now that it's only the producers that are left of the show, we're not getting the truth of what this whole drug epidemic was actually about. So, and it's just crazy, the contradictory of everything. How it's okay for like you said, the white man to have a gun, and they show it to us in a different way, versus when we have the weapon in our hand, we're dangerous. We're armed and dangerous. But when they have it, it's okay for them to have the weapons. And how can they have so many weapons without them even being demonized? But then when we have it, we're immediately, I think that the news should have been focused on how the kids got those weapons versus trying to lock the parents up. How did they get those weapons into their hands? How did they get those type of weapons? Those are the things that they try to stop us from actually looking at. That's the bigger picture of everything, because they have everybody so programmed, through all of the stuff that they have us desensitized to so many things. People don't actually look at, why do they have those weapons? How did those kids have those weapons? How are those kids able to get an Airbnb? How are they able to do these type of things that they were able to do? And it's because they don't care about our kids. They don't care about our kids in the things that they come in contact with, the things they're dropping in our neighborhood. Like we said, if you're a product of your environment, you keep having all types of access in our neighborhood for our kids to have access to drugs, tobacco, alcohol, all of these things. Of course, these type of things are going to happen, and nobody cares. The bigger picture is, how did they get those weapons? Not what the parents did. Okay, the parents could have done better, but guess what? The government is doing this for our kids. They're the issue. The government, the police that are pretending to be, somebody that's in the neighborhood, and really you're a police officer or undercover CIA agent doing what you guys have been doing to us for hundreds and hundreds of years. So, it's a lot when it comes to that. But I also wanted to touch on the Oscars as well. You know, I did see the full Oscars. This is actually my first year watching it, so it was nice to see her and Daniel shout out the Black Panther Party and Chairman Fred. You know, long live him, your dad.
Let me
Surrounding the topics.
let me interject what you want. Just one second. Just good dialogue going on Instagram. Also, I'm seeing some of the conversation with you all. Right on. Feel free to call in. I'm trying to touch on some of y'all questions too. But good dialogue. We encourage it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna shout out some of your questions and comments in a minute. I see y'all. Good dialogue. Also, just for those who may not be, I don't want to draw a foregone conclusion. Our sister the caller just mentioned like her and Daniel. I first got hip to her. I don't know, some people like that. Who's on first? Who's on second? That's actually the artist's name. She goes by name. She goes by the name of Her, Her. So I just want to add that because something like if you say Daniel Kaluuya and Her, so that's right. So I just want to put that out there too. I see some people on a couple of questions that popped in. I want to add one more thing for now, and also it's a good dialogue we're having. Also, I want to just say this too. If we also can struggle, it would be every dynamic, whether it be whether it be relationships, drugs, economy, it should be on point the contradiction how other communities have, and this is no attack on our community, how it's interconnected to their survival. When they talk about generational wealth, when they talk about property, it's connected to the enhancement of their community, and that's that dynamic of even how the gun. The gun is viewed everything, especially when you under attack, especially when you. It's like you have a different when there's a war being waged upon you. It's different how you view allies and differences. And one of the first initial moves that Saddam Hussein in Iraq, when U.S. was saying they're going to go at Iraq, they said open the prison doors. People said, "What you mean?" They said, "Man, listen, we need everybody we can get." So even information, education. I said the other day, like even a contradiction in Nazi in Germany, with like even in the victims of Dachau and Auschwitz in the Jewish community, it's considered child abuse not to know about the Holocaust, not to have a discussion. It's considered child abuse. With black people, if you tell them about the assassination of Chairman Fred and the 15th Lamar Clark and attacks on us, the Tuskegee experiments, that's considered child abuse. To know about it, like, man, you telling that child how we view it. You know what I'm saying? Even like the gun, and we're limited because again, the other communities are backed up with the schools, how they view information, is how flippant. It's like code words. I'm talking about, we talk about in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? The Cinco de Mayo with the Mexicano community with the flags. I had a little brother tell me, say, "Man, Chairman, well, we have our flag." I said, "Man, you don't got the Cub flag, got the Garvey flag, man." He said, "Man, we ride around them flags, man. Police gonna be kicking our ass." This in the mouth of babes, 13-year-olds. He said, and it hurt. But the deal is we have to acknowledge that and be upfront about that. But right on, so I didn't mean to cut you off. So go ahead, just bring some other points up too. By the way, I had some interest.
No problem.
I had some interesting dialogue. What's the brother's name? The main character in Snowfall. I just had some interesting dialogue with him. In fact, when I approached him, he had told me, he said, "Chairman," he said, "Daniel told me a lot about you, Chairman." You know, so Daniel Kaluuya. I just seen him. So it's ironic we have this discussion now. But go ahead, continue, please, sister.
Yes, sir. Everybody is talking about this Will Smith thing and, trying to take his accolades and from him and just basically diminish his legacy like they really try to do to every black man. And it's just sad to see a lot of, instead of, our people supporting each other. I mean, it's going to happen. There's times when we all have days, that sometimes we just get overwhelmed and and emotions get flowing and things happen. And I feel like, Chris Rock himself forgives Will. It says they were even partying together after this whole situation happened. Not saying that it's right what happened, but I'm also not saying that it's wrong because we have to understand that we're all human. But to see a lot of our black community just slandering him and playing right into the ploy of what they want us to do, and go against each other, and it's just crazy. It's crazy that it's being that way, and now they're saying they're going to recommend him and all of that. I just feel like people have to look at it, the bigger picture of it. They just want to show that they can take something from him. It's funny because back in 2018, Will and Jada Pinkett Smith, they boycotted the Oscars. And a joke was said about them by actual Chris Rock, the same one who said the joke at this year's Oscars. And for them to come from boycotting the Oscars and not even being there to this time, they were at the Oscars and they put them front row seats. I analyze everything full surface. So it just felt like that was a part of some type of strategic plan that they had to try and, get a reaction from them. From them, like I said, boycotting the Oscars to now them being actually front row seats at the Oscars for the same person who triggered them and was talking about them, who was supposed to be their friend in 2016. To have that person say a joke about them again, that's triggering. That's something that triggered him because he said something about him before and his wife and put a distaste in his mouth, and he never addressed it. So now we have it now, this situation happened, and as black men, they were able to get over that situation. But what's happening is the white man wants us to keep talking about it. They want us to not look at what's going on in the world because now this is a distraction. This is being used as a distraction for whatever that's going on right now that people are overlooking because this is what's happening. But I want to say, if we take away Will Smith's accolades, then they should take away Harry Weinstein's accolades. They should take away his Oscars for what he did because this has nothing to do with the hard work.
Weinstein?
As an actor and what he did to get this. Yes, Harry Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein.
They should take away all of his. I mean, look at what he did. Look at all the things that he did. I mean, why if you're going to take away this man's accolades for something that didn't have anything to do with why he won this Oscar, you should then take away everybody else's who's done. What about Alec Baldwin? He had an Oscar as well. He also killed someone. Whether it was an accident or not, I mean, if you're going to make it seem like Will Smith actually literally killed somebody, and you guys are going to stop the whole world for this, then we should start recommending everybody. But they only do it to our people, and they're doing this to once again further, like I said, try to destroy his legacy. Like Michael Jackson said a long time ago, our black men only end up one way. Either they end up on drugs, dead, or everything taken and stripped away from them that they worked hard for. Why is that? Why is that?
Great call.
So we have to start, really thinking about what's going on out here. And, I know it's deeper than just the celebrities. You have to think about it as, think about it for what is going on the home front for us that aren't celebrities, for people like me who, my kids are in school, and I'm seeing that every time, I come in contact with an African American, just like me, a black person, just like myself, parents, we're all discussing the same thing, how the schools are trying to put all of our kids in these programs and trying to tell us that our kids are slow at learning, but our kids are doing just fine at home. My kids are just fine at home. They're very intelligent. Everybody always compliments me on my children. But in the school, they're trying to tell me that my kids need to go to a program and see a specialist and have one-on-one learning. So, and it's not just me, it's a lot of other black people as well. So that's also something that they're doing, to our kids. They're starting at a young age now. They're trying to have our kids put into classes, separate them from everybody else, to make them feel like they did something wrong, to make them feel like they're not smart, to make them feel like they're in jail. Institutionalize them already at this young age and separate them and make them question why they look this way or why they look that way, and already make them think that the white kids are better than them. So I talk to my kids about it. They're 5 and 6 years old, and I'm already talking to them about what's going on. They're already well versed on what's going on, and I'm going to that for my kids in school already, because there's no reason why you should tell me that my 5-year-old daughter, who has a YouTube channel with her granddad on cooking and knows instructions, knows how to clean her room, knows how to do all types of things. She can tell you, can sit down and have a very intellectual conversation with her. She's speaking properly. She says huge words that will blow your mind. But then she gets to the school system and try to tell me the same thing they try to tell me about her brother. They'll tell me that he can read a chapter book, but they're saying, oh, he doesn't know how to comprehend the book. But we know he can read very well, but he doesn't know how to comprehend it. So we want to put him into this class, because after he reads it, he doesn't know what he read. Anything to try to put our kids into, separate them and make them feel like they're not as good as the other kids.
Yeah.
And I'm just fed up with a lot of stuff that's going on in this world right now. Just how subliminally they're doing things, and how we're focused on all of the wrong things and not focused on the right things to get us out of the system, to help us to be able to have some type of freedom. I just want everybody to open their eyes. So free them all.
Free them all. Great call. Great information. You touched on a number of points. You know what I'm saying, and I just wanted to touch the latter. Then y'all feel free to. I'm curious to different people's insight and take. You know what I'm saying, in regards to the other situation at the Oscars, the Will Smith Chris Rock contradiction, but also want to add on in regards to the school system. The impact, how they targeting, at the classification. Your children in general. We see intelligence. I'm hearing about cats being on in the special classes. The MH mentally. I forget the term what it was for. And these cats are intelligent. Sam. This one brother in particular. Man, he ended up dropping out. He was a organizational genius. I remember when I first read the book Sun Tzu by Art of War by Sun Tzu. I learned this on the streets from this guy I grew up with. So to be definitely, and this opens the door for all type of, forced medicating, doing the Ritalin and other downers, saying this system, to turn our children to dope fiends, the long-term effects it has on them. So points about that. I want to jump in too. Any other callers want to? I know we getting that one down on time. The assessment in regards to the Will Smith Chris Rock the contradiction at the Oscars. Definitely want to touch on that also, but not at the expense of negating or devaluing that phenomenal event, a phenomenal position taken by Daniel Kaluuya and HER. I'm just saying that sound, man. Daniel Kaluuya, long live Chairman Fred, man. And a lot of people say, man, where he was at, how he done it, you know what I'm saying? But man, take that and repost that over and over again. Your thoughts? Now we talking about another thing, but also the Will Smith, Chris Rock. I'm definitely gonna touch in. You know what I'm saying? Our thoughts on it, my thoughts on it. The party line in regards to this, and what it opens the door for. It opens the door for a number of discussions. Any more callers in queue? After that, I'm gonna touch in.
Brother Tim.
Free them all.
Brother Daniel on the line. Free them all.
Free them all. Welcome.
It ain't Daniel.
I have no. I have free them all. Welcome. You happen to have a name that's buzzing right now. You know what I'm saying? And we just when you called in, I knew. I mean, we glad you called in, brother. We say this Daniel, but I knew it wasn't Daniel Kaluuya, but just simply the way the co-host, Daphne introduced the caller to call in. But welcome all the same, brother. I'm sure she heard you call in. I hope she didn't. I hope you didn't get no bad welcome. So welcome. Right. Welcome to Freedom All Radio.
Thank you, Chairman.
Daniel.
First, I want to say it's great to see you. I'm glad you touched down safe.
Right on.
Secondly, this young lady, prior to me, I'm not going to lie, she had kind of touched me in a little place. Initially, I was going to bring up something else, but, just to briefly touch on what she had said about the children, because, I'm a certain type of dude, and, the children is really who I'm advocating for, because the childhood is stripped away from them now. I came up with this term. We live in PC post-COVID. We went from AD to BC to AD. Now we in PC. So we in the PC world right now, and the kids, childhood, it may never be the same for them, as it was for myself in the '90s, and they ain't going outside. They're being forced to wear masks and all that. But, at the same time, the education mandate is still the same because it's still owned by the same people. The Rockefellers and Rothschilds and Morgans and all these other elite families, they bought in on it. They got their agenda that they want to push, and it's less about creating industrial workers and more about, again, sorting us by our intelligence. They trying to make the Hunger Games. They trying to make the Purge for real, you know what I'm saying? They trying to make, if you remember the Hunger Games, they had I'm thinking about Harry Potter. In the beginning of Harry Potter, they got the little hat. It's called a sorting hat. It tell you what house you're going to go to. And, you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing, because I can remember when I was a child, my mama was a real strict disciplinarian. She was all about that education. So when she got the opportunity, for me doing well in school, which I had a natural knack at, because I'm just a quick learner, she was like, oh, yeah, you got to go into the gym program. You got to go into the whatever else program, you know what I'm saying? But now I'm dealing with children outside my age group, and, turn out, to keep it short, eventually these types of programs lead children into already streamlined paths. If you do well on testing, this is why they introduce standardized testing, because if you do well on these tests, they sort you into a different category. You go to college, you have a certain amount of options available to you. If you do poorly on the test, then you're reprimanded to, okay, well, you're not going to college, you're going to be a worker, you're going to, there's no growth, it's predestined, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's, again, that school to prison pipeline is really being built through, the standardized testing model and these different programs that, rank kids based on their initial intelligence, when that's not what school or learning is even about. School and learning is about, understanding the information, processing the information so that you can later apply it in real life. You know what I'm saying? And looking back now, because I'm a felon, it's so funny that I was into all of these programs and still ended up, having some legal issues that now sort me into another category. So it buzzed me out when I heard what she said, because I feel, as a parent, trying to look out for children, and, they still doing the same stuff, so it ain't never changed. But at the same time, I would suggest to any parent, home is where it all starts. So if you prep your kids, they know what they're getting into. They know that this education system ain't defining them for real. They know that their only objective going there is to, make solid friendships, make, like all these cool relationships, but also to understand the basic information being taught. That way they can have that to apply to their own lives. It's child geniuses that I see in it's like a 6-year-old kid that go to Harvard or something, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't no limit to a child intelligence at any age.
Let me jump in. Let me jump in with you too, brother. Let me right on. Let me jump in. Right on for the call. Good seeing man, brothers. I mean, right on the Murray Park. We came through there, man. Right on, brother. Free them all. Yes, indeed. Let me jump in and tag team real quick. Free them all. Shout out to I see man, legendary comrades. Everybody touching in. Melissa Crowley right on. Guavin, the Deputy Field Marshal, Tanique right on. See y'all. Jada. Guy Harris, Ray, man, Virgil, man, my hey brother, Grandmaster in the building. Powerful piece in regards to stuff you touched on the history of Oakland, California, including the Minister UEP Newton on YouTube. Y'all check that piece out, our brother. I just seen that powerful interview. Daniel, not the other Daniel we say we call in, and we touched on a number of different things. I know we on the countdown for the show closes out, but I wanted to also, this kind of touches on. I'm gonna try to combine the subject matter in regards to the schooling, in regards to the discussion, in regards to that of the Will Smith and Chris Rock contradiction, because the deal is everything is political, and the dynamics inclusive with this, about the starting home. I know some people say, well, you understand, Draw. No, I had a discussion one time, and there was an attempt, and it like to negate different race and class contradictions and conditions, like. Brother Daniel, the caller, you talked about. I mean, how the education that you received, but also later on about the be marked. You know what I'm saying? Hit with these felonies. The deal of acknowledging conditions and outside situations, how it impacts our life. You know what I'm saying? And something like race and class and conditions, as opposed to many like. And the rule that many people can, like I mentioned earlier, we can, even inside the home, I gave an analogy of people can be inside a bubble, and there's certain things there, you know what I'm saying, like certain organizations ascribe to just that of theory. We reading books. I was on a panel with a person who read so much about the Black Panther Party, but there was so much missing. There was so much, because there are certain stories that people cannot tell about the Black Panther Party Cubs. You know what I'm saying? Daniel, you seen me in Leimert Park recently. Now, for someone, you've seen some contradictions that I had to deal with. And my time I take a lot of my comrades out of town because they be like, damn, Chairman, you got to deal with different chapters all over the world. We just thought this was in Chicago. You seen some, that cannot be put in words. What I had to deal with there. You with me, brother? Then the caller still there?
Yes, sir.
Are you following me, what I'm saying? Okay, right. So there's theory and practice. Theory and practice. There are certain things, like a lot of people they're on YouTube, they can give certain information. There are certain life experiences that impact individuals. That, you know what I'm saying, their culture. I mean, I'm glad Ryan Coogler had pushed this term in regards to myself and Mother Comrade Akua being the cultural experts on this movie. They were saying, well, if initially they were pushing, I said, why are you bringing these other people? Well, they're intellectuals. That has its limitations. That dynamic of seeing I had to deal with some struggles, and just now recently, it's so that cannot be told in words. Denzel Washington he gave an analogy about Martin Scorsese and Steven Spielberg, how the different cultural differences. And when you talk about different, like even terms of how you like experiences. Now I'm gonna tie this in with this. I know I'm kind of short on time, but this dynamic about it's not how we cannot assess contradictions so simplistic. Like it's not this blanket. When people talk about education, when there's a discussion about the gun, drugs, crime, relationships. It's what I'm saying, masculinity, femininity. It's a different. To put in. That, like when we talk about it's in the home, that dynamic of the politics of putting in context of who we are. Like the term conscious has been watered down to our person is a conscious. To be conscious of respectful situations and say, how do I fit in this, and put in context of this time. I tell people, like, if a person, a person who has to take the deen, who's is a Muslim, when they talk about a dowry for their wife, for their relationship, they don't say, they say, wait a minute, they have to be taking the context. Who are we talking about? Where are we talking about? Different dynamics of it, you know. And there's like the people in many cases, the black community in particular are forced to regurgitate ruling class rhetoric. We're forced to take the chitlins and say, okay, we're going to make these master shoes fit our feet. We're going to make the, so we're going to take this assessment and say, how do we deal with relationships and try to apply it to our situation? And anytime that black people in particular acknowledge contradictions, there's some sort of, you're being divisive, which is racist. Other communities have the luxury to say, no, this is something, they can say, this is something that reflects my culture. This is how women relate to men, or vice versa. It's a dynamic. And then even deeper than that, not just the race question. You talk, and this also goes back to I'm gonna tie this in with the children, the impact, like education. You look at historical figures, Malcolm X, and even the spectrum, Ronald Reagan. They talk about different times in their life when certain things were told to them, how it impacted them. It could have been a make or break process. You look at and you say, wait a minute, how was it in the juvenile detentions, the times, how the school set at these particular periods in my life? How was it that adults now say, I love the Black Panther Party because I remember the free breakfast program? How did this genius, Minister UEP Newton, the timing of the day, the time of a person's life to impact them? And we have to acknowledge that, as opposed to a reactionary assessment to say, well, we all the same, to come in and say, wait a minute, we're not a product, you know what I'm saying, of past experiences, and say, wait, let me put this in context, how I relate to this, how this affects other people, so on and so forth. And it's not a blanket absolute. Someone was quoted on the show earlier, on some TV show earlier I seen, and they were giving, why do people say it shouldn't even happen there? And you say, what happened where? The guy was telling me, he said, Chairman, there. I said, where? I was trying to get him to say it. It's a code word for a white folks venue, the Oscars. I said, okay, let's have the discussion. Why you say it shouldn't happen there? Let's be upfront about this here. The deal is that's political. Politics is like real estate, time and location. So it's not a blanket assessment, don't do this. It's who, what, when, and where. In our community, like people say, people should learn certain things. You should have certain discussions. There's an acknowledgement of seizing the time. People can relate to certain things. And people say, well, I'm just saying it shouldn't happen there. Let's be upfront. There is a political understanding where people say how to talk around white people, how to act around white people. You know what I'm saying? And especially in white people's venues. You know what I'm saying? It's ingrained in the brains and the DNA for generations to come. And sometimes you might can hold it for a generation. It's there, it's embedded. You know what I'm saying? It's embedded from the breaking process. It's embedded from the fraternities and sororities. It's embedded when people say, Chairman, somebody can't relate to what you're saying or words and terms, but they can relate to any other entity. It's embedded. When they come into any other institution, there's a respect for the ruling class. And it's not because of some shortcoming of the Vanguard Party. There was a situation we exposed this individual. Well, she came December 4th and August 30th are two major dates of the Black Panther Party Cubs. Everyone knows, those who need to know, they know this. There was a situation where an individual was came to the December 4th, International Revolutionary Day, a day in which prisoners stop what they're doing. Fist up in the air. It's in the prison manuals. The guards they have extra guards on duty. This is a known date. So an individual who was sit there and was triggered to one of the events, raised up, committed sacrilege to the struggle. And this same individual we've seen in the mayor's office, we've seen in other petty bourgeoisie and bourgeoisie events act right. You say, oh, you're capable of acting right. So let's preface with that. Let's have an upfront discussion. Let's be frank. Let's speak like Chairman Fred. Let's be upfront about the contradictions. Why is it? You know what I'm saying? How do we assess it? We all take wait a minute, you talking about So once we distinguish that this is not a post-racial society. This is not all across the even board. We talk about drug laws. We talk about how you should defend yourself, how you should act. Let's be upfront. When people say, "What do you mean speaking correctly?" No, let's be upfront. We know what we mean. Let's be upfront. Why is this discussion happening? Why are there different positions being taken? And let's seize the time. We have, when you seize the time, expose heightened contradictions. Many like we talk about Somalia and Yugoslavia. We had two countries that that were going, they're war torn, and you seen the contrast on how the fund. And when Bill Clinton himself said, "We got to help Yugoslavia. We got to send the funds over there because these are Europeans." So we're hiding the contradictions. Now, let's seize the time. We have a case. We have a contradiction for all practical purposes. For all practical purposes. Now let's be upfront about this. And now, both respective individuals are, for lack of better terms, palatable. Let's be upfront about this here. So see, if it was sometimes you say, "Oh man, yeah, dude, maybe buck wild." These are two accepted. Let's be upfront now. There's no slight on them. Let's have some honest, objective discussion now. So you say, okay, now how do you? Because many times your viewpoint of individuals, whether you want to admit it or not, who you like, is impacted by your how you view skin tone, how you view resources, how you view who's accepted. So now we have two accepted individuals. Now let's acknowledge there are certain codes and culture. There are certain things like, that people talk about. Now you can say whether it's right or wrong. I don't know how much time I get, but I want to seize the time where the force people say, when people try to force feed you nonsense, to say that you can take a blanket assessment. You can take this fish food that we feed the goldfish in the aquariums and go back and take it to you, trying to tell them, "No, man, I got a dog, man." And you feel bad because you are taught to feel guilty that you have a different dynamic. That you know what I'm saying? That you have to, there's a difference between an elephant in the zoo and an elephant in the wild. And it's not, and the deal is to acknowledge it's not, don't flatter yourself, it's not on a particular position that particular elephant is taking. You have to, let's talk about the zoos, the capture, the poachers, the tusk, the ivory trade. So let's talk about the entertainment industry. Who's raised up? What you have to do to be raised up? Who has to be neutered? Who's allowed to be in certain? Let's have this discussion. Put in context. And it's understood. But people fight like the political dynamics of it. It's political. So to say, why would you say not there? Why, you know what I'm saying? What's the dynamic? I'm glad that sister called in. And there are certain things you're taking the context about. Yes, the boycott, the deposition, the Smith's position about the boycotting the Oscars and the whole, I'm going to say this. Even with the Dave Chappelle block party, when I went in, I studied it. I did a background. I said, okay, this is my move. I took into account the class, what other forces was there. Go watch me when I came on stage. It's an old clip of me actually saying I would not have done it with Chris Rock. It's not a personal position. It's acknowledging certain dynamics. There are certain people who are detached to the black community. You can take how you want to take it, boil it, bake it, or fry it. This meal is what it is. And it's not, we call it the cooks. We talking about the ones who went and hunted the deer. And the dynamics of, certain people intentionally mean it. There's a certain culture of how you talk to a person, are you referencing them? One of the struggles we had on the movie set, Judas and the Black Messiah. Before I say that, how you talk, their lady, their man, all this is political. I recall vividly on the set of Judas and the Black Messiah, I was struggling. I said, no, this cat cannot slap this individual. I remember that. And people say, what's the big deal? I say, no, this is a certain politic in the community. I remember as a child growing up, there was a young cat with us in a situation, he came around us and we found, oh, this dude, he bogus, she lying. That's a whole other long story. And someone had slapped him. And the deal was they wanted to talk to us about who slapped him. Not it was a discipline. And people outside the black, people say, well, whether it's right or wrong, there are certain codes in the colonized community that keep it surviving that people have to relate to. How it's dealt with. You know what I'm saying? And then you can't switch horses in the middle of the race now. Now the horses are looking, so okay, now you at the Kentucky Derby. I see you where you walk now, you get certain flowers around them. But now you come back, it's a different culture back in the stables. Cause we don't get shined up. It's a different horse out here, man. Look at our horseshoes, man. Look all the flies around the shit around us. This ain't the Kentucky Derby. Now, it's different rules of the road and it's different rules of engagement. And that exists back in the stable. The TV cameras ain't on us. So it's certain, so you have to put it, so it's difficult because you say, now you're in a conundrum now. You say, okay, wait a minute now. This is where we at? If you go to certain rules of engagement, what's said? How do we deal with contradictions? You know what I'm saying? Because people say, well, you need to be able to adapt it. But the deal is, if you got to go back to those stables, when those elephants go out there and get when the little girl throws the peanuts over the elephant do the tricks of the horn and roll around on the ball, and you got to go back amongst other elephants and say, hey man, dude, hold on, man, don't come back here. I know what you do out there, and we have certain rules. We ain't hopping up on no balls, man. You know what I'm saying? And we pay the price for that. And so these contradictions, just when you see these, so then it's here. This is for a bigger discussion. Hiding the contradictions. One thing we gotta say, acknowledge the difference, the contradictions. I hate this. We're not all the same. There are contradictions within our families, within our relation. You can quote me on this here. Most of what people refer to as family issues and brawls and class contradictions, race contradictions. And deal with the chairman for hiding the contradictions. Say, okay, now we clear. And my man on his Facebook, I like this quote he said the other day on his Facebook. If you stay in your lane, there's less traffic. If you stay in your lane, there's less traffic. When other organizations come to try to talk to us, hold on, man, that's how y'all get down. I respect, and that operates for your ecosystem. That does not suffice for this ecosystem. It's a certain way, and see, I remember certain guards and big money in other prisons, certain these guards, they would come in, and mind you, they want nothing out there in the different small towns. But now they got these badges. They go home and they having divorces now. They white. Hold on, you don't call no shots here. But they going up and they over control of thousands of men, leaders, go-getters, and they not able to assess and say, wait a minute, I'm not in control. Really, this is a machine. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to. I'm playing a pivotal role, but I'm not really in the. And you can't sum it up. So you have reactionary situations when you put in certain places. You know what I'm saying? You the background of Hollywood, the script writers, all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And people say, I thought this person's wrote. There's so many different dynamics. It's not that simplistic. What's offensive to certain cultures may not be offensive to other cultures. What's offensive to certain sides of town? You have to take into account the Game of Thrones. They talk about it. They say, man, hold on, man. You talking about the Northerners or the Southerners? Oh, then when you have this clash, when you throw it in for the, you know what I'm saying, the different dynamics, and then with other, like we talk, like when we say certain the countries in Hollywood say, hold on, we need some black writers and we need black politicians and people. Be careful now. You say which black people? You know what I'm saying? Because they say, oh, okay, I got you. Be careful what you ask for. You want that? Then it's like who can't even connect or who. Relate to who can relate to the peanuts, you know what I'm saying, falling in their snouts. It's an elephant say, whoa, hold on, man. I fought for my tusk. You know what I'm saying? It's certain thing. It's a different dynamic. It's a culture with an eco. So we're gonna have this discussion. I want a further discussion. I know we got to close out in a minute. But to put in context. And some of us may be premature about where the entity of acknowledging. In some place we got to say, okay, to be here, but like people say, if this happened at the source of BET, why do you say that? They say would have been no issue. Why? So because let's start acknowledging there are contradictions. There are certain, even within the religious community, they ask you questions like, okay, man, is it Shia? Is it Sunni? And it's these different what church you go to? Are you Baptist? You Methodist? AME? Different. When it comes to the community, to the people, black men, black women, there are contradictions. But another country is what particular, how is it you are forced to fit into a dynamic that may fit you as an individual, But again, that as an individual, that elephant getting those peanuts, you know what I'm saying, in its nostril, you know what I'm saying, it may suffice for that elephant. But the deal is, when you try to, for the elephants in general, elephant like, whoa, hold on, man, we can't survive with them. That visiting hours coming through a tour and playing with you and them peanuts, man. We got a whole herd. And then add to that, we gotta watch these damn poachers trying to cut our tusk up. We under attack. You cool if that suffice for you without your tusk, but I need my tusks. Cause it's internal, cause I'm in a situation where other elephants are coming. I come from a history of, you know what I'm saying, how you pick your mate, your all this. And the deal is a lot of times people just cut it up for this period. You say, hold on. That's cut up for this period, and it becomes normalized. Don't do it for your own subjective. You say, man, guys say, man, they want a black woman, but not with your aura, not with your body language. Say, okay, just give me a lot of black women say, give me a black man, but I don't want the, you know what I'm saying? Don't stand up, do this and that, so on and so forth. But a lot of children, I want a pet. But not the one. I don't want to have to clean it up. I don't want the fleas and shit. Oh, you want a stuffed animal? You need a stuffed animal because there's no telling what conditions happen with this dog. With this dog has to be a dog. You know what I'm saying? That you control this up to the kennel. And we got to close out. Let's pick up on this, follow up. You know what I'm saying? Again, y'all keep y'all heads up, eyes on the fists clenched, y'all. Real talk. Hey. Subscribe to Chairman Fred Jr. on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button. 10 o'clock. Tomorrow we're going to have a Women's History Month. Brand new clothes for women, everything at the Hampton House. 2 o'clock on Madison, California. 4 o'clock at the Hampton House. Those times may vary. So check our Facebook page for the flyer. That's tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Brand new clothes for the women that's getting up tomorrow. Also Saturday, at the Hampton House, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock a.m., we're going to start doing some cleanup over there, some renovation over there at the Hampton House, y'all. 804 South 17th Avenue, Maywood, Illinois, 60153, y'all. Again, man, some of us ain't fit to be in the Ringling Brothers Circus, you know what I'm saying? Or we want to hide the conscience, so when we walk up in there, Ringling, they say, hold on, man, don't play with that one. You know what I'm saying? Man, that's some different type of cats there, man. Real talk, y'all. Okay, leave word with our call-in people to come on the show. Leave word with them. Right on. Hey, y'all here's about I know overrode the time. Free them all. Tune in next Wednesday. Right on. Real talk. Right on. Free them all. Just come and take us out. Free them all.